Ugh. Yeah. Yeah. Let's just hit the ball real fast, like hits here. Hit the ball real fast, like let's hit the ball real fast, like. Let's go hit the ball real fast, like let's go hit the ball real fast, like let's go hit real ball real fast. Let's go hit the ball real fast, like let's go hit the ball real fast, like let's go hit the ball real fast, like doobity doopity dop. Oh. Let's go hit the ball real fast. Boop 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 ba doo boop 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 boop. I'm gonna hit the ball. Boom. Dude, that thing went fast. Just like I said. Okay. So, what we have here is a failure to communicate. Hello, Scream. How you doing, Suki? That was weird. I was just sitting here, and then all of a sudden, I hear the scream. I feel the pain of everyone. Speaking of feeling the pain, I'm gonna open the window real quick. I'm gonna open the window so that I'm not burning, I hope. Okay, happy Halloween, Merry Christmas, and everything else. Yes, it is Halloween. You know, I spent most of the night, well, the early morning. First of all, I'm making a transition because the courses that I teach are only a month long. So, we're starting this, I'm starting a new course literally today. So I had to go through all the books and make sure everything was done for the first day of classes for like the multiple English things that I'm teaching. But while I was doing that, I was watching Candy Momoko, who I can totally attempt to use the shout-out thing to see if I remember how to do this. Yeah, like that. I was watching Candy Momoko play Soma, or the beginning of it, which, if you don't know, is a spooky little game. Yeah, well done. I figured it out. A spooky little game about, well, if you know what the word Soma is, then you know what the game is about. But the game is about the word. Don't spoil that yet. Well, I guess she should know at this point because she knows the twist of the game and now she's just going through the storyline. But and we played it on a stream back in 2020 that is now up on the archive YouTube channel. I put that up the other day. I remembered. Soma's up. I could not find Luigi's Mansion 3. So, meh. Meh. But while doing that, I was doing that, the setting up for the courses. And then I was like, I should create a YouTube channel where I just talk about how to write. Like, I give tips and such for how to write from sentences up to paragraphs, up to papers. Because I could do that. That is something that I could legitimately do. I don't know anything about the space, but I could do it. Shut up, bot! Stupid bot. Okay, let's see what we got. Oh, Mullock is online. That's even weirder. You guys think Mullock will stop on and yell at me about streaming? Probably not. Told Mullock I don't stream this. Ugh. So how was the weekend? For me, it was very tense. So after Plague Tale, and I started noticing at the end of when we were playing Requiem, my left shoulder started getting really tense. And then I slept on it wrong. And when I woke up on Saturday, I was just in pain. Like, it was literally just pain. So I spent the last 2 days working with that. Now it's a little bit sore, but it's not really pain. So we'll go with that. Besides that, I think it started because of the game or because of how you slept. It got worse because of the game, although I think, or not because of the game. It got worse because of how I slept. I think the problem isn't just the game. It's that for like the past forever, all I've been doing is sitting. Like I've been doing a ton of video editing, a bunch of, not really streaming as much, but sitting down, lesson planning, reading through a bunch of stuff. And in the last few days, I did start doing video editing again, and some streaming. But I think it's just a lot of sitting in ways that weren't very helpful. And it just built up. I flew past it. Some physio stretches. That reminds me. I don't know if you saw this, but people are pretty mad on the internets about there's a story of a girl who just had like tests or exams or something in college and went to a chiropractor to help deal with like just general stress and back and stuff. And she came out of it completely paralyzed from the neck down because they, quote unquote, attempted to, quote unquote, realign her vertebrae. There's Mullock. Called it. And it's something that a lot of chiropractors do. It's that thing where they grab your neck and like crack it. But if you do it, you have the ability to completely break someone's neck. Diamond 2 in 3s, champ, whatever the lowest rank is in 2s. No rank in 1s. I like doing 3s. Well, I want to do 3s this morning because I don't require any thought when I'm playing 3s. I just go. Oh, that was a bad positioning. I'm going to bump him back up. This guy's gonna grab boost. Oop. Sorry. Sadly, he's fine. Ah! We're pumping each other everywhere. Okay. It's just gonna go bad. But yeah, no, it was... So, like, as soon as you said physio, I was reminded of that. And it's like... Chiropractors are the biggest scam in this... Well... that I could think of, at least. They don't really require much in the terms of training. They need a license, and in a lot of states in the U.S., in order to practice, you do need to have a degree, but it doesn't need to be a chiropractic degree because nobody offers one of those. Yeah, just manual adjustments on their neck, and ended up completely paralyzing her. Completely. I don't know how you do this. This is my rant of the day. It's got nothing to do with video games, which is surprising because that's usually what I'm talking about, is video games. But like, oh my goodness, you can't do this. Well, we're losing this game pretty badly. And they discovered that. Okay. And of course, the guy that... Well, other chiropractors are like, well, this is a rare thing. It happens in like 1 out of every 100,000 cases. And I'm like, how rare is it if it happens in 1 out of every 100,000 cases? I assume that there's more than 100,000 people getting chiropractic work done every day in the US alone, which means you're paralyzing 1 person a day? That's really bad. Really bad. So, here's our little message to everybody here. Do not do the chiropractic thing. See, I opened this menu on accident and I saw, oh, Mullock is online. How long until Mullock jumps in? Oh my goodness. And the worst part about it is, back when my stepfather was still alive, I've had back problems and such for a long time. He would do like regular physio massages because he was ER doctor trained and all of that, like once every few months, and it really helped my back. And now I just can't get any of that done. So my back is just a mess in general. I could fix that with like better posture, but man. Oh yeah, no, there's a lot that don't do manual adjustments because there's... If you've read about how chiropractics came about, a lot of it's like 1895 witch doctor random stuff. And a lot of people who learn it realize that what they're learning doesn't make any goddamn sense. It just doesn't. So they don't do a lot of the stuff that can cause damage. But the problem is not everybody is that way. So, no. No. Nope. Nope. But yeah, no, I've got new... back to news that I am a lot happier to talk about. I'm back to being able to do random stuff. I've got my profile pictures done on, like, everything. I updated them. They're the same images that we used. There's one on the YouTube gaming channel now and stuff like that. So we did get those done, and I want to go back a little bit. I know I said I wanted to practice a lot of Splatoon and Ocarina of Time. I'm going to do a lot more of that off of stream. So, just not as much on stream, just to not overload it. And I want to go back to the... I had a ton of fun with the first part of Plague Tale Requiem, so we're going to continue that this week as soon as I have time. I want to go back to how it was in, like, I don't know, 2021, late 2020, where I was just playing random games a lot of the time, and then also doing my normal stuff. So we're going to be looking at a few different games. I'm going to try to blend this in with my YouTube channels. So, like, Harvestella is coming out Friday. I really do want to play that. I enjoyed the story for it a ton. Besides Harvestella, Sunhaven just got its multiplayer update literally the day that my shoulder went, when I wasn't streaming, so I didn't play it at all. I found a couple randomizers that I'm interested in. So, like, there's a Mario 64 one. There's a couple Pikmin ones. And I do want to play Pikmin 3 on stream still. We just never got around to it. And the big reason for that is I played it on Wii U, and I didn't feel like it was really that good compared to 2. It was really short. And the other reason is that I watched Hoshi play it on stream right after Pikmin 3 came out for the Switch. And didn't really feel like doing it myself after that. I own the game, so I do want to get around to playing it finally. And now that I'm being all uplifted... Oh, and I've gone through a bunch of archive stuff, and it reminded me of a bunch of... Like, I was watching some of the old Mario playthroughs, and I was like, dude, remember when I would just sit down and talk about random stuff? Like, well, I do this now anyway. But I would just sit there, play a game, and talk about stuff and be like, yo, this is a Mario Odyssey stream. Let me give you the entire history of how I started streaming and why. And talk about what I want for the future of the channel again, different things like that. Oh, man. Those are fun times. Sadly, Suki, you might be disappointed to hear this. I was not able to find the original Hoshi raid that brought you to the channel. I don't think I have that stream archived anymore. Also, during those times, it was a lot less about trolling me in every game. There were challenges that were done quite a bit, but it was a different kind of challenge. So I'm looking to incorporate the Twitch with the 2 YouTube channels that I have, plus the archive, but that doesn't take incorporations. Oh man, this game finally got found. So we're going to be doing fun little videos using stream. So like the entire Nuzlocke video that I did, instead of doing all of that off stream, we'll just do all of that on stream. And during encounters, I'll treat it like a YouTube video. And then when we're out in the world just exploring, we'll treat it like a Twitch stream and talk about random stuff. And I feel like that will make the process both better for me and more interesting for everybody else. Okay, now that we've gone through all of that stuff that I wanted to talk about, let's go back to the physio message, because I really wanted to get away from that for a couple seconds, because let's just say chiropractor conversation not make me the most happy. I used to go, but my previous physio had this thing, my masseuse, and okay, that should be a clear hit towards me. So let's... Dude, I can't believe I scored that. And then couldn't get another female masseuse and then wanted me to go to another location. Oh, yeah. Ew. How did I score that? What was that? No, I don't want to take the shot. Okay, we're fine. Okay, so Sixers is going to go for this. He's going to hit it. ZZ is backing up, so I'm just going to come across here. No, he's not backing up, so I'm going to back up. I physically can't grab this, but ZZ, are you sticking with this? No. Okay. Well, it went exactly where I wanted it to, despite that. Oh my goodness. Ah! Also, I might have to take a look at a few things regarding, like channel point redeems and things like that. Because how I get a lot of them to work right now is Lior on board 2. But with some games, they don't work. Sound alerts has been giving me problems where sometimes it's gone off 2 or 3 minutes after the person's used it. And I was in the middle, like when my shoulder went and when I was trying to figure out the job stuff and make everything better, I was in the middle of working on something somewhat secretive for Jesse using that setup that I feel that I could literally build into my Liara board to get rid of sound alerts. So I sort of failed Jesse by not getting all of that sent in time, and I really hope it didn't cause a lot of pain for her because speaking of Jessie, she was part of a collab in Among Us yesterday. I watched the first minute of a stream, but I did not get to watch it. This is the problem with putting things on Sundays, is I don't like, I'm not at my computer on Sundays. Hi, Nemo! Nemo, how far did you get? Oh yeah, Nemo was playing Luigi's Mansion 3. Fun game. Sort of annoying to me right now because it's the only game that I'm missing from my Halloween archive streams of the past. I don't have my... So I said, Suki, I lost the streams that Hoshi rated and you joined for the first time. I also lost all of my Luigi's Mansion 3 streams. I have all the clips, I just don't have the streams. That's very sad. Yeah, that was last year's Halloween game that I did. Yeah, so, Nemo, I don't know... I'm going to say this right now. Nemo. If you want to save your streams, and something that I've been doing the past couple weeks, I have a YouTube channel specifically dedicated towards my past streams, and they used to be like all privated on there so that I can go back and look at them at any time. If you want to like look back at your streams at all in the future, create something, because Twitch has murdered half of my streams. Even highlighted. Also, what were you supposed to get that stuff, Jesse, for? I don't think I should say. It was a functionality for channel points. I'll say that. It was supposed to be for Halloween, and due to like all the stuff happening at the same time, it sort of caused... Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer. I'm half crazy, all for the love of you. It won't be a stylish marriage. I'm still sweating. 1,000 degrees. But you look sweet upon the seat of a bicycle built for two. Gotta love Daisy, I agree. Hey, we're ranking down, that's cool. Yeah, Daisy's pretty cool. I agree. Also, the other problem that I have with a lot of my redeems is that if I'm playing a PC game like Plague Tale Requiem or Rocket League, they just don't work because you have to be clicked into the game, and I can't do the same thing that I do on Switch to like get the colors and the flip to work. Well, I know Daisy in New Striker, she was added as DLC. She was added in the first DLC pass. So she's in the game now. I think the second pass has already come out. Yeah, Scare works the same way. Scare is a Leorin board function. So the physical pop-up on screen is controlled by OBS running over a game thing, so I can't see it if I'm in a PC game. That's why those are disabled when I'm in PC games. So it really sucks, and I want to find better ways of doing channel point redeems that aren't like Ara Ara that don't work when my throat is bothering me, because my throat bothers me a lot anymore. And I don't want stuff that relies on me only playing games on Switch. But I would still like to play a multitude of games. Ara Ara, the reason that... So when I started doing it, I could hit a much higher register of my voice. But my nasal problems have gotten more steadily worse over time, so I can't safely hit the same area. And now, every time that I listen to it, it legitimately bothers me instead of like the jokingly bother me that I had before. So the voice isn't at the level that I want it to, and it sort of annoys me. Sort of didn't go how I wanted it to. Also, with my attempts at making videos a little bit more related to stuff, I want to try using this variation of the game screen a little bit more, which restricts a few things. Because this one is much better for straight recording, and how I generally recorded games was to have 3 or 4 copies of the recording, like of the stream running at once, and quadruple encoding it to have everything 3 or 4 different times. Which doesn't work when you have games like Plague Tale that are murdering my PC. Yeah, I think the problem is there's a ton of things that I want to do, a ton of things I'm not sure about doing, and a few things that I want to test. And I have to sit down and come up with ideas for things again. It's usually not a problem if I'm doing something like Switch, because I'm not playing the game off the computer, so my computer's freed up to do a triple rendering and a triple encoding. But if I'm playing an intensive game, I can't do that. Plus, it really messes with everything. I'll probably have another session where I sit down and look at things again. As I said, I had the idea earlier today of just doing a YouTube video where I talk about how to write, like, for English, for like, how do you write a paragraph, a sentence, what makes a good paragraph, things like that. And just have a general YouTube channel about English that I start with stuff like that. But if I have that idea, that's going to make the other stuff really slow. Okay, he's going to move forward. I'm going to back out. Yeah, well, if you didn't know, I started doing a job where I literally teach English to people trying to come over to get into universities. So when I say like English, I mean people like that. Oh, that's an own goal. Yo, thanks. Nice shot. So, like, I have a course starting up today in, what is it, 7? So it starts at 10. Can be handy for anyone to refresh the basics. Yeah, I think the problem, though, is the language. When you're dealing with people who don't speak English and you're trying to do this, most people trying to learn how to write a sentence for the first time aren't going to have the same language skills at all. So you have to just describe everything in very basic words. But I mean, one thing that I do is with the gaming channel, I write narrative stories, right? Like, I wrote the script for the Pokemon Nuzlocke video. I wrote a script for the Mario Kaizo things. I'm doing all of this, like, even in my own time, and then I spent the last, I don't know how many years, writing historical and literature analysis. And I'm trying to get better at narratives, but the one thing that I did, that I've been doing for like the past 4 or 5 years, is analysis and research-based papers. So it's something that I've been doing and I can teach. And I've also spent the last month teaching people how to write a 3-point essay. Just to be clear, English was my only language, just never good at writing. I've had this conversation with quite a few people, actually, over the past month or so. Because, to give a little bit away, when I came into the class that I was teaching, where I decided to teach the 3-point paragraph, that was not a requirement of the course originally. But when I saw their writing and I saw their goals, I sat down and I just decided that I was going to do it. Because a lot of my students are trying to get into university at one level or another. So the ability to write a basic 3-point essay, yeah, it's pretty important. So yeah, if you're writing academically, it's a little bit different than if you're writing narratively. Narratively, you still have the same general rules. They just come out very differently. You're trying to build chronological storytelling instead of explaining something or arguing something. And I might have the script after this next game I can go over of my Pokemon video when I'm looking at a narrative. But, like, if I'm teaching people in one of my classes, I'm like, okay, we have 5, and I won't do it the same way, but we have 5 paragraphs, right, for a 3-body essay. We have an introduction, 3 bodies, and a conclusion. And some of them know that, some of them don't. So what is the introduction? paragraph. There are two things in the introduction paragraph. What are they? And bonus points if you get it, because it's, if you've been learning English, you're probably going to be familiar with the structure. That was really good. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can make not just a YouTube channel out of it, but interesting YouTube videos. Not... So... something that's not just helpful, but also able to be interesting. But yeah, you have... if you open an introduction to any paper that you write, you want to have what we call the hook and the thesis. And the hook is super important no matter what you're writing. No matter what you're writing, the hook is the most important, because if you don't give people a reason to read, they will not read. Same thing with a YouTube video. If you do not give people the reason to watch, they will not watch. Remember I told you how our university had everyone take an English essay writing class to ensure everyone was on the same page to writing, and yeah. Yeah, it's not always consistent, no. Which is why I'd like to start at the simple, how do you write a sentence? What is in a sentence? What is the sentence's function in writing? Because I think just something like that is probably pretty straightforward. And can be taught. And we're getting goals while we're talking about this, so we're doing good. Woo! But yeah, we have the hook and then we have a thesis. A hook is, it tells us why we're listening. Why should I pay attention? The thesis tells us what we're actually listening to. Gives us the main idea. There are really complicated ways to make a thesis, and we see those a lot more in research papers and longer argumentative papers. But when you're just starting out, you don't need to use complicated versions. You just need to tell us what it is that we're hearing, that we're reading, that we're seeing. Okay. So from there, we have 3 body paragraphs. These are super simple, actually. A body paragraph explains one thing that supports your thesis. One. We describe this thing in a sentence known as the topic sentence. So the topic sentence is the first sentence of a body paragraph, and it tells us what we're going to be reading about specifically in that paragraph. Inside of that paragraph, and this is where I disagree with how a lot of books teach it, especially for starting, you have a couple different things. You have what some books call subtopics, what I like to call details or examples. But I don't like to call them that. I like to refer to them as that. But really, these are the meat of a body paragraph. So you should have 2 to 3 reasons for what you're saying. These are the reasons. And we go through, and both of our reasons, or all 3 of our reasons, should talk about whatever it is our topic sentence is about. They prove it, or they explain it in some way as to why it's important to our thesis. It's really not super complicated. And then for each of those sentences, not at the beginning, but as we get better at writing, we want to add 1 to 2 sentences explaining what we're on about. So that's really the basics of it. And then in a lot of books, they have a part that I really disagree with. They talk about the conclusion sentence to a paragraph. Now, when it comes to a lot of research style papers, you'll see a transitionary sentence, but you will not see a concluding sentence. So I do not like the conclusion sentence. It's supposed to mimic the three-body paragraph's conclusion paragraph, but it never does. The conclusion sentence is a throwback to the thesis if you use it, or the topic sentence for that paragraph. It probably should not be used for 95% of papers. And then your conclusion is a retelling of your thesis with additional information or other things that people might want to know, or predictions or anything about the future. Basically, that's where you insert your opinion, is the conclusion. And if you follow all of that, you have created a very, very simple paper. Okay. Actually, you're right. I actually use this to judge a lot of novels and whether or not I want to read them. I'm going to hit my own teammate. Ooh. I learned this a long time ago when I was at a convention about creative writing, and we heard from novelists, and it was a really good experience, and it always stuck with me. Since then, I've always found the first sentence, especially the first sentence of a paragraph, can tell you a lot about what the author's writing and whether or not you're going to enjoy it. Yeah, it's not just like creative writing, it's all types of writing. So the reason that the three-body paragraph is this thing that's taught to like everybody is you can adapt the three-body paragraph into literally everything. Every other type of essay or writing, you can adapt or learn from the three-body paragraph essay. So, woo. Okay. I said I'd try to find this. It's probably going to be terrible. Oh man, these are a lot worse than what I thought. This is so much worse. I forgot how much I did of this in ad-libbing. Oops. So if we jump over here, we can see this is my Pokemon Nuzlocke thing. It's got our little hook right here. And then our thesis is very simple. How far can we make it through a Pokemon Nuzlocke while completely winging it? Because if you don't know, I hadn't completed one. And actually, this should have been a hardcore Nuzlocke, because when I was explaining in the rules, I explained a hardcore Nuzlocke because that's what I did. This was just walking through, setting up jokes, things like that. It's not that hard. Blah, 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 blah. This is all like the body paragraphs in sections. So I talk about naming my Pokemon, Bozkov, Xana. It's all pretty basic, right? And this is 8 pages of me just going through and making terrible jokes. I think a lot of the body here could be better, but I didn't record my voice audio. I didn't record my voice audio while playing the game, which is why I wanted to go back and start doing that a lot more on stream. So, what is a hardcore Nuzlocke? If you know a Nuzlocke, have a nice lurk, Nemo. Happy Halloween, Merry Christmas. So a Nuzlocke is very basic. You have to catch the first Pokemon that you can only catch the first Pokemon that you encounter in a route. And if a Pokemon faints, it is dead. You're not allowed to use it again. Those are the 2 basic rules of a Nuzlocke. There's usually optional rules for things like you have to nickname your Pokemon. Technically, optional rules. So on top of that, for my hardcore Nuzlocke, I added no duplicate Pokemon for any reason. No battle items, so no items being allowed to be used in battle. And we have a level cap, so we're not allowed to out-level whatever the next gym is. And because of that, and because I didn't feel like just sitting there grinding for 10 hours, we used a cheat code to give us infinite rare candies. And if you know how Pokemon works, you'll know that our Pokemon are actually weaker because we level them with rare candies because they're not gaining EVs from battling Pokemon. So our goal is to beat the champion and all of the gyms and everything up to that with those rules in place. And I want to be clear, first time trying it in Fire Red, and absolutely no thought put into it whatsoever. I just kept running forward. So it did not go the best. It didn't. We were doing mandatory trainer battles, a couple optional trainer battles. We were catching some Pokemon. But in Pokemon, if you play through from city to city, if I get to, say, Brock in the first gym, I'm going to be about 4 levels under his level when I get there. So I would then spend the next 15 minutes leveling every Pokemon that I've caught up to his level so that I don't lose any Pokemon. And then when I go to Misty, and if I do the same thing, I'll be 6 levels under Misty on all of my Pokemon when I get there. So I'd have to train all of my Pokemon 6 levels, which will take another 20 minutes. And you get to the point where majority of your time is spent fighting wild Pokemon 10 to 15 levels under you, because fighting trainer battles is a great way to lose Pokemon. So you just cut out that part with the rare candies, the part where you're grinding for 20, 30 minutes. Everything in the game was still happening normally. We just had an item that allowed us to level without having to fight wild Pokemon for forever. So anytime that you see that little thing that comes up and says, hey, actually I think I disabled it finally. Hey, my latest video is this hardcore Nuzlocke thing that I was doing, which it no longer is, because my latest video is actually the Splatoon 3 hardest level thing that I put out over the weekend. It was just a link to that video that I made. But yeah, no, if I'm going to make the writing YouTube channel, I have to come up with like 3 things. I have to come up with 2 to 3 scripts for videos. I already know how I do all the videos, technically, so that's not really that hard. And I'd have to come up with a YouTube name and a banner. I'm really bad with logos, so all of that stuff. Don't worry, if you stay around on stream very long, Nox and I are going to be... I'm going to try to convince Nox to do a soul lock with me. I don't think he will legitimately do one after I complete my hardcore Nuzlocke. It would be so funny. I guess, do you want to associate it with your real self or with Doity? Neither. I think because if it's mostly focused on writing. If it's mostly focused on writing, I don't know if I need to be on screen. It won't be associated with Doity, but I don't think I associate it with my person. Because I'm not teaching pronunciation or anything where they need to see me. If they need to see me, it's a completely different story. Oh no, it would be a completely new channel. So it would be like, I know there's a channel called like Learner English or something like that. Just something very generic. Because if you think about it, I use the name Doity on channels or on things when I want it to come back to here. So everything that I have except for my Go channel from 2016 in some way points to Twitch. But with the English channel, I don't want that to point back here. So I specifically don't want that to be a Doity channel. And then I've already talked about why I don't like having my name or any other information on the internet yet. So, although over the last 2 years, a lot more of that has come out. I blame Luke for that. Does not stop the babbling. Although my face is still luckily not on the internet. Mr. Isel Koskun, or Blargy McBlargers, I don't know what he is on every server in Discord. We went to high school together. Well, we went to high school until he switched high schools. My face is off the internet. It's not that hard. My first name is now known by most people on that are regulars in voice chat on Discord. Again, because ISIL exists. Besides that, I don't know. Clearly, I don't spend enough time in VC. Yeah, probably not. It's a switch between Tommy's channel and mine. It just depends on where people decide to group up for those for individual days. But Isel, Zeb, and Tommy play a lot of, and Nox play a lot of Sea of Thieves together. And then since like the update to Phasmo, been doing that together too. And I'll sometimes jump in for like the Phasmo stuff, or if they don't have enough people, sit on like Sea of Thieves. I'm at a disadvantage since you know Mayan. I'm gonna be honest, I remember zero information about anybody. So, but yeah, it's all out there. Oh, it has, and it's confusing me. Phasmo's a confusing mess. And then they were talking about playing another game that is like $7 or something right now on Steam. And I might get it if it if they're gonna get it, I'll pick it up. It's a 3v1 Phasmo or Devourer or whatever type game. But it doesn't look the most balanced. I forgot the name of it. It's literally on Tommy's Discord server. He pinged me in the message about it, which is... Oh, I got it. I can't remember what channel it's in. But a few days ago he sent it out, and I don't know what their plans are for it yet, because I have not... Well, Tommy's been sick with the voice thing, which is why he hasn't been streaming. Actually, just generally sick, but his voice being gone is one of the things that comes with the sickness. And my shoulder went, so I wasn't spending like any time on internets. So, yeah. Oh, he bumped me. He moved! He was in this position, then he moved! He did say he was starting to see some improvement. That's good. I wasn't really on much yesterday. Again. Because Sunday is a day where I watch a lot. I generally watch a lot of sports on Sunday because it's the one day where a bunch of stuff is on. And I did grow up in a household that watched all the sports. But I pick and choose mine. Yeah, I started editing that. Also did that in The Voice. But I got 25 minutes in with my shoulder, and I didn't touch it at all on Sunday. So, and that's probably for the better, because it was not comfortable editing and starting to cut that. I originally wanted to have that done today, but no. And I'm just realizing, I think when Nox played the little things like, or that little clip that I made from in Bayonetta, I don't think he put it on 1080. I think he kept it on 720, but full screened it, which made it super blurry. My stupid Charlie the Unicorn thing that I thought of when he summoned that stupid centipede thing. Sports have been weird because I have a lot of people. I know a lot of people who don't watch sports, and I know a few who watch a couple sports that I don't really watch. But like Tommy and Zeb getting me into Formula One was a thing where I was just like, I don't watch sports with and talk about them with other people anymore. Like, once a week I'll call my grandparents and we'll talk about like football for like 20 minutes. And that'll be like the extent of that. And it was a lot more when I was growing up. You'd be sitting down and I'd be like hanging out with my uncles and family members, and we would have like 5 people watching games for like football games for 8 hours a day, or like 2 or 3 baseball games on random afternoons. And everybody would want like different people to win or whatever, and that'd just be like massive, like it would just be a whole thing. So I feel like I've lost a massive part of that. Like, the only person in my household who can watch sports is my mother, and she doesn't know the rules to like 90% of them. It's really annoying when every other line is, instead of discussing something about the game or implications of something, you have to explain why something is or what something is. It's not like bad as a one-off, but if you're doing that every day for the past like 7 years that you watch, that these people decide to watch sports with you, and it's always the same thing, it's just not the same. Oh, I couldn't get up. That's bad. I also tend to watch, usually when I'm doing other things, like I'll have a stream or something on, and then I have like some sort of esport that I've been watching since 2011 or 2012 on in the background as well. So I usually have something on. And if you don't know, I watch a bit of StarCraft 2, mostly Korean StarCraft 2, not really much in the West. Less miss the old days. It's less missing the old days and more just missing that, just having other people actually watch stuff. And coronavirus didn't make that any better. I moved up here away from like everybody else, or down here away from everybody else that I watch stuff with, and they would be like the more sickly type. So meh. I think it's right now. So right now, across both of the Discords that I've made, and one of them is not really open to people. It's an older Discord that I use to communicate with a bunch of people, and I just made it for whatever. But across that one and my current one, Riley is the only person who really knew anything about American football in there, and I don't think he watches it. So, like, that's... And I'm usually just speaking to people on Twitch or on my Discord anymore. I'm not, like, hanging out with people because, again, I don't know anybody here, and coronavirus did a number on that whole thing. So when it comes to sports, unless I want to watch hockey or MMA, and I've never been into watching hockey on television, and I've never been one for watching MMA. So I've been one for competing, but not watching. No, I missed it! I was trying to get that up there. That's my bad. We're doing so badly. Let's watch a few shows that my family and I will watch together, but we don't watch TV in it. Yeah. Yeah, for me that was always sports. I never really into TV. But I mean, it's also at the point where, because I've watched so many sports, and like you have your mainstream sports like football, baseball, things like that. My grandfather, who passed away a little bit before coronavirus, the one who passed away before coronavirus used to watch NASCAR all the time. So saw some of that too. My grandmother got remarried, so like three grandfathers, I guess. But a few years back, we did a we had an exchange student who played, living in our house, who played tennis, and because I watched every sport known to man except for lacrosse, I still hate lacrosse. I was always the person who would be stuck going and having to explain whether she was winning or losing to my mother if she took her. Or how she did, or like things like that. I'm in a situation where I know too many sports for my own good. But I do legitimately feel like that's a helpful thing, because I can go most places and just do sports. I don't even care if that's a goal we've already lost. The one thing I'm not allowed to talk about on Twitch, because nobody on Twitch follows sports. Yay! Oh, man. Now a lot of that has changed. Oh, it's not even that a lot of it has changed. I just don't have those groups anymore. I remember when I was in high school, there was literally a guy that I only talked to torment, because we both liked different football teams. And for 4 years straight, he played golf, by the way, so for 4 years straight, basically the only thing that we would talk about is torturing each other about the football teams that we liked. And high school was a really weird time for me. It was a weird time for everybody, but most of my friendships were us either fighting each other physically, fighting each other mentally, or bullying each other about something random. No. I was not a very good person in high school. Ah! But I fought a lot. Hey, we played with Sixers earlier. I mean, was there a reason to hit that hard? Nope. Yep. Ah! I'm trying to remember, because I think right before high school is where I really started getting into sports on my own instead of just a family thing that would happen. So meh. Who knows? That was a weird shot, too. What time is it? Okay, we need to be done before 8. Because I still need to take a shower and get generally ready. And make sure that my brother gets ready for school before I head out. I think these two are fine to like run around. That's gonna bounce in a little bit. Bounce across, bounce out, bounce in. Darn you! Darn you! Okay, I think that went in an okay direction for me if I actually hit that, but I jumped and then didn't get anywhere near it. That's really weird. I mean, if he got to it, it would have been a really cool hit. I think we're bad. I think we're bad. Our positioning is awful. Sometimes you just have to work through stuff in high school. I mean, everyone does. Well, I mean, let's not say it was awful. I was awful, but in more of a, people were fighting each other, and like, so I was one of those people where I was generally seen as an asshole, which is why I always refer to myself as one. But at the same time, I was also that person where if something was legitimately going wrong, or somebody was legitimately like, I want to say bullying, like I was that one person who I have a very strong moral code. I do not take some things well when people do things. I will stand up for people, and it does not always end well for me. But if the stakes are low, then typically I am somebody who's not the greatest. Now, there are other arguments to be made with, like, how do you deal with pressure and stuff? Because I am not the best person in general today when it comes to dealing with some issues. But I don't think anybody is good at everything. I just have to learn to deal with those better, or make sure that I'm not messing with other people when they come up with me. Not hurting other people, I should say. I am not a good example of grace under pressure. So I don't know if I'd refer to myself as a good person or a bad person in high school, but I was definitely not the best of persons. Okay, these two are just working together to kill us. I also take after my father and have a very short fuse, so. Bleh. Bleh. Being self-aware works when you realize it, but up until that moment, it's just bad. Can I ask why? Up until the moment you are self-aware is where it's an issue. So. Nope. Don't even have to touch it. It's all tied up. I also don't know if I'm the most reliable person. Not because I choose not to be, but because my body breaks down all the time. And I deal very poorly with things like sickness or especially pain. Because typically if I get sick, what happens is my entire body shuts down because Lyme's kicks everything up. But yeah. That's my big Jesse problem right now, is I just don't... The arm thing and the getting sick thing. Bleh, I know I think you're a good person. I never say no. Ah! I've been cleared. I know it. Well, actually, that's something that comes back to classes, is trying to teach people things like, or explain, and this isn't even just for the people coming in to the language, but like fact versus fiction is what that reminds me of. And people, for some reason, have a very hard time distinguishing fact from opinion. You can argue an opinion, you cannot argue fact, and that's usually the easiest way to put that. So, I don't know why you reminded me that, but I had that class last week. And I like having things that challenge people. They seem easy up until the last second. Like, well, this is easily a fact. This one's easily an opinion, but is this one a fact or an opinion? And it looks like a fact, but it's arguable. Getting wrecked. There we go. There we go. So yeah, I don't know if anybody's actually seen anything from my Discord, but I did go back on Twitter today, this morning, at one point when I was doing the updates to the profile stuff. And I actually started liking and retweeting stuff, which I had not done since the 11th of October. So it's been a good while, right? So I did anything on Twitter. And a lot of the stuff made me realize that over the past few weeks, I have not been looking at like indie game stuff or like any of that stuff that's been coming out. So I've got a lot of games to catch up on, a lot of game news. Because apparently I follow more game news than I talk about on a scale of like 100 to 1. I talk about very little of the news. Or very little of the games that I could. I also realized that we have more ducks. A lot more ducks. Nuns and ducks. And I don't have any major controversies in this week on Twitter so far, which is good. Ooh. Pass that off. What are you gonna do? Both went up for it. That confused me a lot. Sorry. I'm just floating in no man's land right now. I'm just gonna back up and be in not no man's land for a minute, and he's gonna kick this real hard towards, I don't know. Oh, so I could 100%. Yeah, about the body feeling unreliable. Oh no. Yeah, that's a bad one. Best to beat our commitments, otherwise I understand. Yeah. It just sucks. Oh. It just sucks. That's all I've really got to say about that. Oh, I also wouldn't mind doing things like video editing for people. Once I got to a point where I was a lot more comfortable with doing it on my own or for my own, because I feel like my general editing, my cuts are getting better, but my general editing is still pretty poor. And when I'm doing stuff for myself, I generally don't care that much. Like once I get it to a state where I'm like, yeah, it's good enough, I'm done with it. And I mean, there's something important to note when you're doing something like editing. There comes a time that you have to stop, right? That you have to say, okay, the video is done now. But I don't think in most cases, like the Nuzlocke video, I stopped myself. That was something where I could have spent longer on it, but I was like, I think this isn't a good point, and I want to start doing other things now. So I'm not going to do... The speak and spell was one too far. But a majority of the time, it's not like that. Like, all of my TikToks and shorts are the laziest edits that I've ever made. And I've spent 0 times researching those areas, those spaces on the internet at all. They're just running away from us. I wanted to pass it back, and then both of my teammates were up in no man's land. Ah! Yeah, you'd be there for a long time if you don't stop. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Oh, what is Gia doing? I got a post on Discord. Another alert on Discord. This one came from the KiwiG server. She was showing off. I stopped in for a brief moment. She was showing off a trailer for Reverie. Should have jumped for that. Oh, I've never had anything catch on TikTok. Most of my stuff is not good for shorts. I feel like as I work more and more on the narrative for the YouTube narratives, I'll get better at the storytelling for the shorts, because all shorts are is the same thing you do in a narrative over 10 minutes, but done in like 15 seconds, right? You want build up, you want payoff, well, you want your hook, as we call it, your general topic, your build up, your payoff, and your conclusion. But you want all of that to be done very quickly. Oh, is it the 2-year anniversary stream? Fun. Fun. Congratulations on 2 years. Woo. It's not in, so. I think we missed our 2-year anniversary. She didn't want to celebrate. Oh. I don't celebrate my anniversaries on Twitch because that would be confusing. Could you imagine celebrating the 12th, or no, it would be the 9th year since my first stream on December 24th. Oh wait, is it the 9th year or is it the 10th year? Ah. I don't even know. Instead, I do the, if I'm feeling well for it, because summer is a time where I start to not feel well for some reason. I got affiliate on my birthday in 2020. So I combine all of that into one stream. I don't think I did much with it this year because I didn't get any of the projects done that I wanted to get done because I still just generally wasn't feeling well. And if I did stream it, then I don't know where I put the streams for it. I know where I put one, I think. Or no, was it this year? I think 2021. I announced the PNG. I think. 2022, I didn't really do anything. Because I feel like I fell off a ton between 2021 and 2022 due to like just everything going wrong. I was gone for literal months. And I just don't think that I just felt like celebrating anything. You were back to school somewhat. That would have been summer. Oh, there's my wake up alarm. Latest that I could be asleep. There were a few weeks that I took off in order to write papers and such for school. But there were also a lot of times where I was just like, why? Just why? And honestly, a lot of streaming has had to. I've had to take like a complete 180 on how I think about streaming. Along the way, because if I didn't, then I would have quit. Like, just straight up, if I did not reevaluate how I thought about streaming completely and start creating the YouTube videos from stream things, I would have quit a while ago. And actually, it's something that I've noticed a lot more recently is a lot of the people that I watched over the past couple of years have stopped. And I'm really sad about that too, because I'm missing a lot of people. Like Scott's stream where he came back the other day was really fun. Or I guess other week now. My goodness, time goes fast. I really miss a couple of the streamers who they only had like 1 to 2 people viewing them, and I don't think most of them will be known here. That's funny. KMK comes to mind while I'm playing Rocket League. Joha Koso comes to mind. Final Frost comes to mind. Trumpet started streaming a little bit, but just streams at really bad times for me. So I try to drop in on her stream from time to time. That's been fun. There's a lot of people. Luna. Another big one comes to mind. Not Chi. I don't even know if Lunachi. I haven't seen a Doki Doki Moon stream in what feels like 2 years. So I don't know if she streams anymore. Darn you, game! I have time from... I don't think I have time. It's almost 8, so I have to get ready to go. I have work. So I have to take a shower, get dressed and everything. I'm gonna try streaming tomorrow morning a little bit as well, so maybe tomorrow. It's 7:50, so I've got no time because I do want to spend a little bit of time wrapping this up. So it's currently 7:50. Yeah, so I've got 10 minutes. I'll try to be on tomorrow at around the same-ish time. As I said, this is going to be a really short stream. So 1 p.m. your time. One p.m. Okay, I'm here. Hello. Yep, that would be Central Europe or no, British Standard Time, I think. Warsaw. 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 Warsaw, 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 Warsaw. Why did Warsaw come to mind? Because it showed up in a research paper. That's not a good one. Oh, yeah, it's Poland. It's, So I wrote a paper that would have gotten me imprisoned in Poland a couple years back. So I don't think I'm allowed to go to Poland right now. Oh, I specifically wrote a paper about how about Polish during World War II and how the Polish police were integrated into the Nazi army and were actually more brutal than Nazis in many cases within Poland. And when I wrote that, they had just passed a law saying that any writings or speeches or like anything that claimed that Poland wasn't like Poland or the Polish people were in any way responsible for parts of World War II or the Holocaust were punishable by jail time. So I don't think I'm allowed to go to Poland. And maybe because of the Warsaw Uprising of 1944 happened there, and a lot. Let's just say, part of the reason that went so deadly was because of the Polish police. So, but now that this is on the internet, they'll definitely know. And if you don't know, the Polish uprising was concentration camp uprising in Warsaw that ended up with practically everybody in the concentration camp dead after what felt like a month of just straight partisan fighting. Very few survivors. We do have some histories of it because there was one guy in the camp who just kept notes and they survived despite him not surviving the devastation. So we do know quite a bit about it. We also know how weapons were smuggled into the camps, how all of that was done, and what happened to the people who were caught and who caught them. So, yeah. When I say that I don't like talking about most of the stuff that I've written papers on, it's usually because it's like things like that, where a lot of my research has to do with hundreds upon thousands upon hundreds of thousands of people dying for no real reason. And it's very depressing. Or it's really boring stuff, like how birds are used in wars. So there's no real in the middle here. So I usually just don't talk about any of it. Poor birds. Poor birds indeed. Poor birds indeed. Okay. So it says I got the ping. 2-year full-time anniversary stream on Gia's channel, and I don't know if I did that right. I think it's Kiwiji Arts. No, it's Kiwiji. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. On December 3rd, 2022 at 1 a.m. my time, 6 a.m. Warsaw time, apparently. She'll be doing art and some other stuff and some giveaways and stuffs. And yeah, they're going to be holding a celebration. It'll be on December 3rd. It'll be a party, and it'll be at 1 a.m. my time. So I might see you there at like 3 or 4, but it's probably not going to be at normal human hours. And that is on a Saturday. So you can have fun with that. There are some different parts of that. If you're in Gia's server or whatever, if you want to check out her channel and see if you like that first, you can click on that. She streams very morning times because Malaysia. I don't think that there are any major... Oh, the game was called Vade Retro Exorcist. By the way, the game that I was talking about earlier, Vade Retro Exorcist on the Tommy Discord. I don't think that anybody is really streaming here. Oh, Kiera's also not streamed much over the past forever. That's one that I miss. That's Scott's sister. Munzi streams from time to time, but I feel like I'm always busy when she's streaming now, because I have job and she streamed afternoon her time, which is when I'm getting home from job. I've been watching a lot of Momoko streams, so Candy Momoko, and not really in a lot of streams, so I don't know. I just watch random people after that. I watch StarCraft VODs from like 6 years ago, and I watch professional players in that, and some small streamers here and there. But I have no major ones that I like follow regularly. Like Ugly Spuds I'll jump into if they're on. JJ Mayo has been sick with COVID the last few weeks and is slowly recovering, but also streams at a time when I really don't watch, so... And honestly, JJ Mayo was one of the few people who I looked at the art style for their emotes that they drew, and I was like, yeah, if it came down to it, I could see myself asking them if I could commission them. And then I never did, because I'm really scared of asking people to do work. So I didn't do that. I'm just literally going through my follow list right now on Twitch because the topic came up with people we follow. There's the Salty Sponge. Does he still stream? Season 6 is coming up, so if he's gonna stream again, it'll come up soon, but I don't think he has in a while. Cake still streams, and Lee Chrisu just posted something on Twitter that I saw, but I don't think she streams right now. I would always miss the Kez streams now, because Kez would stream at bad times for me. And that's all of them. So that's all of them. You can see that I really don't watch that many streams. I feel like all of my mental everything is going to YouTube recently, trying to figure out how to like make videos and stuff. So, meh. Which reminds me, I don't have anybody to raid today. We just went through everybody. So, okay, and Momo's literally ending. So I'm not going to send you to an ending stream. So instead, we'll just call it there. Thank you guys for stopping by. Made it a pretty fun morning, despite the fact that I still had to like do 3 hours of work to get my classes ready. But I got it done, which is the only reason I started streaming. And I'm hoping if we're able to do the same thing tomorrow, where I get all my stuff done, I'll be able to stream for like an hour to 90 minutes tomorrow morning. Now this is a big if right now for you guys that are still here. If I'm feeling good when I get home, I will stream something. It depends on how I'm feeling when I get back. So I'm either going to stream Super Mario 64 because I can get a randomizer done in that in less than an hour. We could do a couple of hours of Plague Tale Requiem if I'm feeling a bit better than that. Although, I'll be honest, probably won't be. Or I might do Splatoon if it's somewhere in the middle of those two. So those are the 3 options that I currently have in mind for this afternoon. And I'm going to try to work on getting a schedule based on how I feel generally and how I felt over the past month with work and then coming back. So, with all of that said, bye everybody. I have to get ready and to teach and then actually teach. So have a good one. I hope everybody has a good rest of their day, and I might stream later, I might not. I'll try to say something on Discord one way or the other a little bit before I'm back. Bye bye.